For today's deck testing video, we're going to be playing a blue-orange deck that I like to call Stabby Crabby. We're going to jump in and take a look at the list real briefly. I'm going to put the deck list in the video description as well. This is basically a blue-orange mid-range list. We got a lot of ways to create bodies over and over again, a lot of ways to draw cards in orange. Orange has access to some very well-statted creatures like aimless vessel, but I'm gonna be honest here. If you know me from the Elder Scrolls Legends, you know that I like the mud crab decks there, and it's a bit of a running meme. Well, Mythgard has Stab Crab, and Stab Crab, I mean, it deserves some recognition. Look at this bad boy here. It's got the knife, it's got the helm. It's not necessarily a good card, it's just a fun card, right? Like, you gotta run the Stab Crab. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play 2 games, win or lose on the ladder with the Stabby Crabby. Let's go ahead and make that happen, right? Let's go to ranked, queue right up with the Stabby Crabby, and hopefully we at least go 1-1. We like more wins than losses when I do these deck testing videos, but sometimes you just gotta meme it up and play the Stab Crab. So, waiting for an opponent to find us, and they have found us. Attila, huh? And Amend. I've been playing against a lot of control opponents, it feels like, lately, which is a bit scary. I think here we just get rid of the digital. Call this good. We want that 1-drop, and getting rid of a 5-drop is safe. Getting rid of a 5-drop when you've got other 5-drops that are probably better, even safer. But yeah, this is gonna be a control matchup. There's the maze. They've got Mend. They've got this over here as well. Not looking great for us. Now the gem limitation probably going to come back to haunt us here, but we do need to get some blue up and running at some point. I don't think now's the time, actually. I think what we're going to do instead is get rid of this temptation. We want this to push damage. We want this parsa recruit over here, because when this goes to 4, they're going to try to sap. And just for extra insurance for getting rid of that maze, I think we're going to slap down another eager recruit there. You don't want them to draw too many cards with maze, so getting rid of that feels relatively important. But we're going to be in it for the long haul here. This is a control deck. The longer the game goes, the more it's going to favor them. Waiting to see how they respond. They did draw the card with the maze, as expected. The other reason that this going here makes an awful lot of sense is our opponent, again, is running maze alongside Mend, so if they wanted to, they could have mended there. Yahui is always a problem. It's always so annoying. That damage clamp is very, very real. We have to take the trade into it. I think here is the time where we're going to get rid of this thunderclap to start generating some blue. And we're going to play this here as well, because again, we're trying to play around this Mend, right? If they Mend, so this heals to 2 and then trade, we need to have something that potentially threatens it, but that's all we have for now. Our opponent draws yet another card because of Turn of Seasons. So many options available to them. Alright, so they are orange, yellow and orange. The Serpent's Den comes down. That's also pretty disappointing to see on our end, though Thane will help us kind of keep that in check, but we have to lose out in the interim. But I think here we're going to get rid of the seal for now. And I think develop scion. So there's an interesting dilemma here because we'd like to develop thane because thane, it can keep trading into this forever and always healing, so you kind of keep it locked down. But that also puts us off of playing magnus. So I think for the time being what we're going to do is just go ahead and do this. This is actually a bit of a misplay on my part. I should have waited, forced them to trade into me instead of giving them the free snake. In situations like that, you want Serpent Den to be as slow as possible, so I should have forced the snake to trade into me. That is a misplay. And they go with a peri, another great resource generator, great source of card draw. And we're going to have a decision to make next turn. Do we play the Magnus to push damage? Do we play Solomon's Gale to get that up and running? And I really feel like it actually might be Solomon's Gale. Because that might bait out one of their 2 misanthropias, which is very relevant, very important. We're going to go ahead and do this. We will ship back the thane so that we at least have our blue activated. We're going to go ahead and do this. Because this with Overrun doesn't care if it's running over snakes, and outside of the very first time after that, Alpha Strike will keep that up and going, so this means that this requires a different answer from our opponent. Now, orange and yellow has a lot of ways to do it. They could, again, hit our board with Misanthropia. Poxbringer is a potential play here as well. And there is the Misanthropia. Okay, so we baited one of them out. Our opponent can only run 2. We do hit them with the 1. So this will then turn around and die next turn as well because it does still have the Blight 3. So forcing the damage through, not a huge deal here. So we'll just go ahead and do that. The question now is, what do we want to do with the rest of our turn? Because we can play ifreet and the regulars, but it would require us to give up probably Magnus, and I don't think that's worth it. So in this particular instance, I think we're going to go ahead with the ifreet. Because we want to do the divination. And this is also a bit of a tough call. Aimless Vessel is a lot of stats. Fossegrim's a ton of utility. I think we take the Vessel here, though. Now, we could theoretically use Pride of Place here. That should remove the Blight, because it should remove everything. So I think that's actually what we're going to do. I think this is fine. The Blight's gone. We save the body. It's just an issue because those snakes are there, so you're not really forcing it through. Unless you have other creatures to kind of go into the snake, and then the 4 damage goes through. Obviously, when Magnus comes down, that represents damage. I could go either way on whether or not that was an acceptable play, but... Our opponent doing a great job so far. Have a high health total, running us out of resources, gets another Serpent's Den to come down. So we'll take this trade here. And again, I'm not convinced this is necessarily the best time for Magnus. So we're going to go ahead and do this.
Stable.
And we'll play an eager recruit here. These serpents then represent real blockers, some real issues. Alright, it's a quality temptation from our opponent. Get some damage on our vessel. Remove the body. I think now is the time to get our Magnus up and running. Just because it does allow us to still push 4 damage here. And get the Venom Fang off the board. But again, our opponent, very comfortable health total. A lot of resources still available. I mean, our deck has a lot of ways to kind of refill its hand as well. We haven't seen either of our peri at the gates, for example. Digital Golem, if it comes back up, can certainly help in that regard as well. But we just keep drawing these recruits. So that's just going to be the name of the game. This is an okay thunderclap turn, but it sadly does not clear this, but it clears everything else. It really is a shame that we don't have a way to get through that. Now, the other option that we have is we could just have this trade here, ignore the thunderclap, because it's really only getting us additional value here, right? So I think instead we'll just do this, take our 4 damage, and then start working on developing some other meat on the board. So we can do something like the regulars.
Glory eternal.
And in all honesty, I honestly feel like we just want to burn that. But I think we want the body here. The reason I was considering burning is because we're also running into some gem issues there. If we would have burned that and then also just infused this for the extra damage, I think that would have been very reasonable. But making sure we have these easy 1-drops to keep activating Aimless Vessel, that's also pretty relevant. Alright, so the serpents have become more formidable. And again, this is gonna fully heal at the end of the turn, so that is always an issue. And this is feeling like a thunderclap turn. So we're going to go ahead and actually burn this one. We need to get our mana a little bit higher. We're going to take the thunderclap though, so that we can activate that. We'd love to get this ghoul going, but I guess it doesn't matter quite yet.
Do we have a mission?
And again, I think we want to hold on to this. Well, maybe not. Let's go ahead. We want to threaten lethal in multiple areas. So right now they even with the snakes as blockers, they actually kind of have to do something, whether that's use mend gets them out of lethal, at least on the right, or, you know, play removal, or do something, right? We want to put pressure on them. This is a good way to do it, because with infuse, these 1/1s can trade into the snakes. Alright, so this is gonna be a Marty over there to clean us up. It's a great play from our opponent. It's a great play from our opponent, and it is a bit unfortunate. And this is proving to be quite the pain. We just need to sneak in a little bit more damage. But if we could get this off the board, that's basically lethal anyway. So we're going to start with this to see what we can potentially have coming up. I mean, Ice Spike is enough to threaten lethal, so I think that's the way to go. This will take this trade here, I suppose. And I think we're going to go ahead and do this, but we're going to activate it. And we're going to get rid of our own eager recruit, because we don't want that ever coming back from our journey. Like, getting back Scion of Pride is fine. We just have to do our best to push damage. They're going to use mend for sure, so we don't have lethal here. Like, let's just be clear about that. The mend will occur. Even with us top decking an Ice Spike to maybe force our 4 damage through on the left, you have to expect them to play at least one more body in the corner, and then also mend, which will pretty effectively seal off this game in their favor. We got so close. We just really are trying to keep throwing bodies until we can get some of these back. Again, Magnus would be a great card to get back, which is why I was considering eating this with the ghoul. But then, you know, we still have to go through that, and the ghoul was not going to survive more than 1 turn, so...
Fortune
Oh, wow. That was far worse than I was expecting. So that is worse than a mend. That is 2 health, not 1. And they got to draw 2 cards. So you could say that was problematic. So we are going to journey back a Scion this following turn. Just don't know what that does for us. Like, I'm pretty sure the actual answer is it does nothing for us.
Reporting.
So we're gonna go ahead and do this again. We're trying to collect souls. Though sadly, this will not overflow souls. We also need to stay alive. I mean, we have to take this trade, but we don't feel great about it. I don't see how we're gonna push through our opponent at the moment. I mean, we theoretically have 1 more thunderclap in the deck. That would help quite a bit, assuming our board survived, but It will not. It would get us that much closer to dealing with the ring, though. So all these souls that we could have been collecting, we're just gonna clean up the board, make more snakes. Oh yeah, the harvester comes down. Yeah, this one is unwinnable. Ugh. Just absolutely brutal. So the ifreet's what we get back next. And they're still at 11, which still means essentially no way that we're gonna pull this off. We could finally get rid of this. But then we just die to everything else. I mean, that's the biggest issue, is we need to deal with multiple issues at the moment. Well, we'll do that to buy ourselves a turn, but again, I'm pretty sure this one has been sealed in our opponent's favor. Just so much health gain. So obnoxious. At some point I'll feature some control decks here. I like this idea of the yellow-orange, but I honestly feel like yellow matches up better with some other colors. I really like yellow and blue and yellow and red. Oh. Temptation, if it was drawn sooner. Whereas quite a few turns where that would have almost got us there. But it will not now. You know, we are just dead to the wide array of snakes. And I think that is it. We can finally deal with this. Temptation with the pride, I guess, gets it done. Like it's a neat trick, but the 7/7, we're just gonna fall. Oh, it hurts. We'll say the good game. Ugh. Alright, well, it is a deck testing video, so we have to play 2 games, win or lose. That was a bit of a marathon, though, so I'm feeling a little bit bad that it took so long and resulted in, you know, a rough outcome. But there's no time to waste. We're going to jump into another game, and at least our opponent's not running men. Finally! Somebody not playing control. This is interesting here. I think we're going to ditch one eager recruit to play another.
Reporting.
And next turn will be interesting as well. Likely Ghoul coming down on curve. This card is great, for the record. Just absolutely phenomenal. Alright, so we'll need 2 blue eventually. Shipping that back now to develop Ghoul is fine. Our opponent is on green at a minimum. Let Astray gone. Unless we draw something else, it'll likely be our regulars that goes back. Just so we cross the orange gem threshold. Oof. Green and blue, and that was a big boy. So this is potentially Reanimator. Except they're on turn of seasons and not disc. So maybe it's a blue-green control. It's quite interesting. Not something I was expecting. We'll take the damage here, and not much changed. Do this. With the ifreet over here to do the divination. I think we want another ghoul here. It's a tough call, but if this one dies, you want access to another one, because when our souls, when we get closer to the 3 souls, we don't want to get eager recruit back. So you can use ghoul to eat your own boneyard in that regard, but you can also, if you do suspect it's going to be like a necromancy style deck, you can eat your opponent's boneyard as well. So making sure you have access to ghoul is pretty important. It's a solid stall tactic from our opponent. Take the damage. We'll cross our 2 blue threshold here as well. And we will develop regulars, and then we'll go ahead and take this activation with our last mana to again eat this, because at some point we're going to get 3 souls, and we do not want to be getting parsa recruits. Being able to go up to Solomon's Gale next turn is also pretty beneficial. We gotta hope they don't have another led astray, at least until after we can get a breach in. Good forked lightning. Right now it's looking like it's going to be an, a control deck heavily based on spells, right? Everything that's played so far is spells. Green is known for spells here as well, so we're just trying to kind of play up tempo. We're going to take that damage. This will go back. Oh, that one's unburnable. Excuse me. Well, this is the one I meant. Oh, this one came back from Journey. I cannot. My mistake. Oh, not Journey. Wow, I am tired. I apologize. Okay, so not Journey. Pretty sure it came from the regular's demise, and then this came back from our Journey. Okay. Whew. This is what you get for recording at 4 a.m. I swear, it's not normally this bad. So the good news is I don't think they have a led astray, or else they would have slammed that on the Solomon's Gale very, very quickly. We do have to worry about, like, Traitorous Murmur when they get to 6. Or just a big, beefy body. It's another thing to worry about. We have our peri, but I don't know what we could draw that could get us out of it. We also have infuse. But that's not enough to trade because of the armor. I mean,
Fortune favors us.
I guess we'll take the peri here anyway. Thunderclap's a good pickup. Take the damage.
Reporting.
I mean, we could take damage back if they decide to go that way, but that works in our favor pretty directly, so I think we're fine there. I mean, we would expect them to try to get rid of our Solomon's Gale. And not much has changed. We're just trying to set up an opportunity to protect it. So because of the armor, this will only deal 1 damage, but then that would allow thunderclap to potentially clean it up. So that's why we took the path we did. But it doesn't matter. Forked lightning number 2. Gonna clean us up very effectively. They're on summer right now, so we're a ways away from winter. Winter would be another way to allow thunderclap to clean that up. Chump blocking this is going to be difficult because of the overrun, so we might just need to use aimless vessel over there.
Systems.
So we'll go ahead and use that as a potential blocker.
Do we have a mission? Do we have a mission?
And just place some more bodies. Get some more potential damage out there. We have to make sure we're continuing to pressure. If they stall us out, we could get to the point where we're just losing a lot of health to the ifreet. So next turn is looking like it's likely a thunderclap turn, and then we'll have a backup thunderclap for when winter comes along. It's looking even more so like a thunderclap turn. So because of the fragile, this would deal 5 to it. This would be 6, 7, and thunderclap will clear. We'll be able to clear this off as well. The reason that we have this here is because we can take a move action and then attack. Unless they clear this out right here. Nope, they're just going to take the smite, and that's fine. Oh. Oh, well that potentially changes things now, doesn't it? I mean, temptation gets us 1 off of lethal. Temptation plus infuse, we have 5, 9, 10, 11. Could throw some damage into this because we were planning on it anyway. Five, 9, 10. Yeah, that's the correct way. So we'll do this here. We'll do this. We'll take the temptation here, and it's only 10, but this bounces back, and we've got a board. And with them at 2, unless they heal, thunderclap is enough to finish it off. So even if they can respond to our board, and it's not likely, this should be a victory. Temptation was a great top deck for us there. Alright, there comes the necromantic, but no healing. So the thunderclap will get it done. So we will go ahead and they were saying well played earlier. We'll say well played now that we know it's officially done, and we'll get in there with the thunderclap to finish it off. So we'll make sure we say thanks for the game. And that's it. That is 2 games. Sad that they weren't both wins. The one was a bit of a marathon, but we got a win. So if you made it this far, I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you'll subscribe and stick around for future videos.